moves, and then we will improve something. So
You want me to move?
yeah, you can play the move with white, and we start to
Hmm.
study your opening with white. So perfect.
Now there's two things here. I can either do that,
Mm-hmm.
or can I take that back?
Yes.
Um, okay, or that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Is better move first the bishop, or is better move the knight? What do you think about that? So,
Or one more. Sorry. Oh
oh
no,
yes,
no. That's it. You. Oh, actually, one more. One more. Or that.
yeah, it's also playable. This, yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
In theory,
Okay. So yeah.
in theory, another common move for white is also bishop b5. So we have many
Yes.
options for white in this kind of position. In this case, the idea is make pressure against this knight to make pressure against the pawn e5. So try to attack the defender of the pawn e5. So
Hmm.
for sure we have many options, and all every option is fine. So I mean we can play bishop b5, we can play bishop c4, we can play knight c3, so we can play all the moves. But the point
Hmm.
and my advice is try to build a opening repertory that we can spend is for white, is for black, and in my opinion the easier but also the more interesting for a player that don't have much time to study a lot of theory can be move the bishop to c4.
Yeah.
And this opening is called Italian game. So okay, it's because it was played by a lot of Italian players by many century ago. And this idea is develop the bishop, and at the same time make pressure against f7 point. Because we know that in the opening the f7 point is a very good point to make pressure because it's defended only by the king. So black has to pay attention about this pawn on f7. So that's a very good point about that. So my advice is play bishop c4, but also the other moves are correct, so are playable. But my opinion for it can be better move the bishop to c4. And let's see what black can do after your move bishop c4. So what are the black options against your move bishop c4?
To go, I couldn't hear you for about 30 seconds. So
Ah, okay,
maybe
maybe okay. There was this problem.
maybe if you turn off your video so it's just audio, maybe that will help.
Uh, so knight
Yeah.
f6. Oh yes, for sure black can play knight f6 or
Yeah.
move the bishop to c5. Usually those are the two
Hmm.
main options for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If black plays knight f6, so if black plays this move, we can consider to play knight g5.
Hmm.
That's an interesting move because if we play knight g5, we're making an attack against f7. We have two attackers against f7, and only the king is defending actually.
Hmm.
So the question is, if you attack the f7 pawn with a knight, how black can defend this pawn?
Um, Good question. It's difficult.
Yes, it's
Um,
not easy.
yeah. Like
Can black defend with the queen?
no. Well, yes, but they'll lose the queen.
Yeah, so it's not a good trade.
It's
Yes, I agree.
it's a
So
bad idea.
yes.
Yeah. Uh, Bishop can't do anything. Um, Maybe I can't. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's defend the pawn actually looks not easy. The only way that black can do is play the move d5. So the only way to defend this pawn is try to block this diagonal. Blocking this
Mm,
diagonal can be possible for him defend this pawn. But then you take,
mm,
take, and now white has to pay attention because the knight is under attack.
mm.
But now we're going to study a easy move at the moment to make your opening easier. A good move for
Yeah.
white can be simply move d3, defending the knight, and then try to castle as soon as possible to
Oh, yeah.
make pressure
Mm,
against this king. And this knight on d5, it's always a problem for him because maybe you can attack this knight with the queen, attacking the knight, and attacking always f7. So it's something that yeah, you must pay attention because you have a lot of pressure against his pawn f7.
mm.
Maybe in the future we can go to study another opening for white. So I mean, d3 is okay; it's a easy move. In the future, we are
That's
going.
passive, isn't it? It's a passive move.
Yeah, we are going to study in the future the move d4.
Mm,
That is better for white, but is also more difficult. So I don't want to introduce too many things in
yeah.
few time, but only to show you that in the future we can go to study the move d4 that is called a lolly attack, and it's
Yeah.
very sharp but good line for white.
Mm,
Actually, the idea is work about d3 if you play it this way. If black doesn't push d5, you can just take the pawn f7 with a stronger position. So if queen e7, you take it, and for sure white
mm,
now has a clear advantage because the black queen cannot take the knight. Even you win the queen. So if rook g8, you can go back with the knight, and you have
mm.
always a very strong attack against the black pieces.
Wow.
So
Yeah. Mm,
so that's a point about bishop c4. So I like bishop c4 because if you play bishop c4, for sure you can make a very good pressure against the pawn f7, and that's a
mm,
very good point about your opening.
mm.
After bishop c4, maybe black can play moves to defend f7 or to avoid that your knight can jump. For example, an idea for black can be play bishop c5. Now the question is, can you play knight g5 now? Is it playable for you or not?
Um, well, now that Black Bishop is putting pressure on f2, but that knight doesn't make a difference to that. That doesn't change that situation. Um, but it doesn't like playing the knight to g5 doesn't. I would do it. I can't see a problem with it. Oh, hang on, the queen. No, wait.
The problem is the queen. The queen can take your knight.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So the
yeah,
difference between if black plays knight f6 or bishop c5, the difference
yeah.
is that if black plays knight f6, the knight can jump to g5 because now the queen is covered by the knight. So
Mm,
now you can play knight g5 because the diagonal of the queen is blocked.
yes. Yeah.
In the other example, if you play knight g5 now, you lose the knight, and okay, black
It's a
win.
bad idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a bad idea because black can win a knight for free.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in this case, if bishop c5 is not possible, follow this idea, and an option for you can be push the pawn to d3.
Mm,
Why this move? Because the idea is okay. For one end, you can defend your pawn on e4 for the future because in the future, black will go to attack your pawn. So have the pawn on e4 defended. It's always a good idea.
mm,
For another hand, you open your bishop that can go in two squares, or to e3 or to g5. If, for example, black plays knight to f6, often you can do this pin that it's unpleasant, so it's unpleasant pin for black, and very often you can try to make pressure against this knight also with other pieces. I'll show you a very quick example. If, for example, black plays d6, you can develop your knight to c3, And the idea about knight c3 is to add pressure against this knight on f6 with the knight on d5. So if you play castle, you play knight d5. And why this idea is good for white? This idea is good for white because if you can take on f6, you force him to weaken his castle. And now there are some problems for the king because this bishop here is very dangerous. If you can join with the queen, for sure, you can play for checkmate ideas. So it's something dangerous for black for this reason, because his castle now is weakened, and the white pieces are very dangerous and are making very interesting threats against the black king.
And this is not even 10 moves, but wow.
Yeah, if he makes mistakes. So if you allow that, and you can go with the knight to d5. So basically, the idea to remember is that you develop your knight, your bishop, you push your pawns, and pushing your pawns, you are threatening this pin. That usually it's a very interesting idea for you. Pin the knight on f6 with the idea to weaken his structure. But to weaken the structure, you need not only the bishop, but you need also the knight. So to weaken his structure, you need two pieces to do that. Only the bishop is not enough. The bishop is good to pin, and then you add the knight to make an extra attack against the knight to f6.
Yeah.
Clear, I think, right? So.
Yeah, it's good.
But maybe black can block your idea. Maybe black can play h6. I mean, black can play h6.
Yeah.
Now, if you move bishop g5, you lose the bishop because the pawn can simply take your bishop. So, okay, it's not a good idea now play bishop g5. So now we need a different plan because the bishop on g5 is not possible. And the other plan that I want to show you is bishop to e3. I think it will take. It can also
the black bishop.
Yeah, I think he can also play the bishop to b4, but I think it's a very common that he will take here. And you take with your pawn.
Yeah.
After that, he will develop his knight, I think. And we can just castle.
It's not a good castle. Does it matter that there's no pawn on f2? Like, I mean, it's not.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. In this case, I think for white is good that there isn't the pawn on f, because it's true that without the pawn f, the king can be a little weaker, a bit weaker. But at the same time, without the pawn f, this file is half open for the rook, and this can be very strong for white, especially if white wants to play to make an attack. I
But
should.
even then, it's not a strong attack for the rook, because let's say, we'll just say something like this, for example. Can I move? Is it white move now? Oh, it's
No, now it's
move.
black to play. Yes.
Okay, all right. So can I just move some things?
Yes, sure. Yes.
Okay, so I don't know. Just say white. Black does that. Stupid
Yes.
move, we know. But and we'll say right. White does, for example, does this, say, and now I'll just move that, and white does that. There's an attack from the queen and also that pawn. So it's not really, to me, it doesn't look like it's a good attack. Am I missing something here?
No, I understand your point of view. Yes, for sure. If you take now the knight is not great because the queen can take, and it's not a good idea for white. For you, it's hard to understand now because you need more information that now I will give you. When I will give you more information, you will understand.
Okay.
So it's so let's say that black plays castle, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, I show you my idea. My idea is bring this knight on f5. This knight, so this knight on f5, so there, and move my queen on g3. That's my first try. So in this way, I can try to mention the knight there, the queen there. I can threaten checkmate.
Mm.
Can you see that, or?
Yes, I can.
So
Yeah.
let's see if black plays stupid moves. So I don't know. A6. We go queen e1. Rook b8. Knight h4. I'm playing, okay, all bad moves for black.
Yeah,
So
stupid moves. Yeah.
to understand what I'm thinking.
Mm.
So that's the threat. I'm threatening checkmate.
Mm.
So the white purpose of the dream position for white is this. If I reach this position, for sure in this position I can take an advantage. Even if I don't play checkmate, I can take an advantage now. Because
Mm.
if I reach this position for black, it would be very difficult to defend this game.
Mm.
Let's do an example. Now I'm threatening checkmate. How can black defend this checkmate now?
Um,
Yeah, but then white can have checkmate anyway.
how?
The topic in this case is the pin. So because the pawn on f7 is pinned, so this pawn on f7.
Oh, yes. Didn't see that. Okay. Yeah.
So what's the move?
For black, you mean, or for white?
No,
Now?
for white, because I mean I said okay, the f1 is pinned, but how can you exploit that?
Uh,
Yeah, but you don't exploit the pin in this case because you can take the pawn anyway, also without the pin of the pawn f7.
okay.
The topic is that this pawn is pinned, so it means that this pawn is blocked because it has to defend the king.
Yes.
So this pawn doesn't defend g6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
So you can
Bang.
simply take,
Yeah.
and then you have checkmate because king h8 and checkmate there.
Yep. What happens if? What about? Can we go back?
Yeah, sure.
So what about that?
Yeah, that's a better try. But in this case, you can go with your move knight h6, and then you can also take a g5 pawn with the queen.
Same thing.
So
Yeah.
for example,
Okay.
you take, king go, take, and your idea is then try to go back with the knight and try to mate again, or maybe move the queen there and attack the king directly, or also you're threatening to win the knight. So you are a lot of threats in this case.
It's same. It doesn't make much difference. Okay.
Yeah. So if you basically if you reach this position, you won the game.
Yeah.
But for sure we reach this position because we played some bad moves for black. We played the rook 8, rook b8 many times, and white has enough time to win the game now. Another option could be for black maybe knight e8, trying to defend the checkmate with a knight.
Yeah.
But in this case, easy way to take an advantage could be take here, exploiting the pin because the pawn is pinned by the queen.
Yes.
And then maybe you can also take this other pawn, and basically this game is completely lost because you want 2 pawns, and the king it's in trouble now. So white is still it's always winning. So if we reach this position, we won.
Yeah.
And it's very important in chess to know one or more dream positions. So position which you know for sure that or you win or you take a lot of advantage. So you take pawns, you take material, you take something.
Yeah.
That's a very good thing to start your play. You know this position, you know what's your purpose. But for sure, maybe black will play better move. Let's say maybe black can play d6. You can go maybe in the same way, so queen e1, the same idea to go with the knight to h5 to f5. And black, we can imagine we will play now push the pawn. You go knight h4, and maybe you will move the queen somewhere, maybe queen e7. No, queen e7, no, it's a mistake, queen e7, because if queen e7, white has a fork. Can you see now how can white make a fork? Yeah, knight g6,
Oh no,
very
sorry.
good. No, it's good, it's good.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah. Got it. Yeah.
Because the pawn is pinned, so you have the fork,
Yes. Rook and
queen.
Yeah, and queen. Yeah.
So queen e7 is mistake, so maybe I play bishop d7, let's say that. And now white to play. What do you play here with white?
good question. Um, Rook is there. Um, so I've still got the pin, and what's the best way to attack? So what are we looking for here? A quick checkmate or just win material or both?
No, we're going to go forward to see the next dream position. 1 second, I copy the first dream position. This way we can have this as example. Okay, so now copy
Yeah.
this.
Dream position.
Now we go to see another dream position that you can have. For example, okay, if you place better, if you place with d6 we said, so I'll go back. So you go always with the same idea: queen e1, a6, knight h4.
Yep.
My idea is play knight f5 because I want to reach my dream position, you know.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yep.
what can happen that, for example, black plays a move like, I don't know, move the rook, I move the queen, and now maybe can defend this position now because the bishop can take the knight.
Yes.
And now it disturbs my attack because it can remove my knight. And to understand well the position, I must remember a new dream position, we can say. The second dream position is when you take with the rook. Let's say maybe queen there, and you double the rook. That's another strong and dream position for white, so we can call
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
dream position number 2. Black plays a move like rook d8. What can you play now with white?
I would do that.
Right, and you win a rook for free, right? So basically this is the position, dream position number 2, because if you move the knight away, something like that, what can you play now?
Good question. It's not so easy now.
Yeah, not so easy, but it's not. It's connected with the F file, so you must see your attack on the F file. How many attackers do you have? The value of your attackers.
Yeah, well, looking at that, I've got three, yeah, three attacks on that. That poor F7 pawn, just
Yeah, you can just take because take, and if the queen takes,
bishop.
bishop
Oh, not
takes.
bishop.
No, I think with the rook is better. It's better with the rook because taking with the rook, you are threatening also this square attack. So if the queen decides to go away, you take the knight for free because it's check. So if you take with the rook, it's more forced. It's forced to take the rook. I show slowly. So you take it with the rook, and now he has to take with the rook, right?
Yep.
Now you take with the rook again. Why? Because if you take with the bishop, it can go away with the king. And in this case, you won one pawn. You won the pawn f7.
Yep.
It's clear, right? So you won a pawn on f7.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
But
Yep.
if you take with the rook, now black is forced to take the rook. Why black is forced? Because the queen is under attack, so the other option can be move the queen away. But if he moves the queen away, you can just play this or maybe also that, playing check and attacking the queen. So you have the discovery attack.
Well, what about so the queen moves?
No, I made a
Okay.
mistake. There is checkmate. There is checkmate. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was thinking, what about that?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. my mistake. My mistake. Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah, yay!
Yeah, you found a better option. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
So if rook f7, so we can say it's forced to take.
Yep.
And what's the value of rook plus bishop?
8.
8. The queen is 9. So for sure,
Yeah.
that's a good trade for you because you take 9 for 8.
And the queen plus pawn is 10. So yeah.
Yeah, so we can say that you won 2 points. If you take with the bishop, you take 1. if you take with the rook, you take 2, we can say. So it's better for this reason, take with the rook in this case.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the dream position number 2 to understand this topic, in which, okay, we don't have the knight, but we have double rook in the f file.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we can have dream position number 3 when maybe tries to play king h7. Queen there. I don't know, rook somewhere. And now we have dream position number 3 that is harder maybe, but okay, let's see dream position with, okay, yes, with that is fine. So now white can have a very strong attack, because white can take here.
Yeah.
Okay, black has to take with the pawn, and you take here with the rook. White's a dream position because you're going to play checkmate against the black king.
Yes.
So
unless he decides to sacrifice his queen just to save.
Yeah, but in this case you win material, yes. So it's
yeah, but that's the only way he can save himself, isn't it? Pretty much.
yes. Also, yes, you're right. So it's like that you must know the final position, and if you know the final position, you know why you're playing some moves. You know what you're looking for. You're looking to reach this kind of attack. Not only one, because for sure you can play also other moves. But if you have more position in your repertory, for sure your attack can be stronger. You try to attack the black king, that can have some problems in this kind of game, this kind of position.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're starting the opening, but bear in mind the 3 dream positions that we studied. So that's very important. So when we play the moves, we know now with what we are looking for, because when I play, for example, bishop e3, it's not only to trade a bishop. It's not only for that. It's because if I reach this structure, then I connect this structure with a plan, with something for the middle game.
Yeah.
It's not so easy because, okay, for sure it's difficult, but we can understand easier that if we know the dream position. So the position that I like to reach with my pieces.
Yeah. I find personally for me, I understand all this, but can we just go back to the 13, the opening white, chapter 13?
Yes.
I find for me, I guess I don't have the skill or the ability to coordinate well an attack with just pretty much, it's just a rook, a knight, and a queen, isn't it? And I find for me personally, if I don't have the knight on b1 developed, my attacks quickly fail because I don't have enough pieces and enough ability to, coordinate them well, which is a problem for me. Yeah.
Yeah, but the knight on b1 we can develop it later. So, for example, in the example we say to play knight c3 here before to move the queen and the knight. So you're right. Before to start the attack, you develop your knight on c3. That's true.
Okay. All right.
But after that, you start with the queen, with the knight,
Yeah.
and again with the knight on f5, and then the queen will join to g3.
Yeah. 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 Wow. What, Alessandro? What's a good? So there's all this happening for white. What's the best way for black to defend? Because
usually black should play here after queen e1. I think bishop on e6.
Yeah.
Trying to attack your bishop. And 2 trade pieces, because if black knows that his position is maybe that white can make a good attack, for black can be okay try to trade pieces. So bishop e6 is a good option for him trying to defend his position. And in this case, it's not a good idea to trade, because if you trade, then your knight cannot join to f5. So if you trade, it's a mistake, because then your knight cannot join because the pawn can block f5.
Right. Yeah.
So in this case, we should play bishop b3.
Why? Oh, so
Because
the
if
A
he
and the
takes,
C pawn.
you take with the
Yeah.
A pawn, not with the A pawn,
Mm. Not the
and
C pawn.
not because now there is a problem about pawn islands. So do you know what's a pawn island or?
I think so. When there's just a bunch of pawns together.
Yeah. So if you take with the C pawn, now we have three different pawn islands.
Mm. Oh yeah.
If you take with the
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
pawn, you have two pawn islands, and also maybe the A file open can be also okay for white.
Okay. Yep.
It's
Got
okay
it.
for the white rook that is on A1 actually. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's an improvement.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so what can we say? That bishop e6, bishop e3. If he takes,
Mm.
you take with a pawn. If he doesn't take, you go forward with your plan. So you go knight h4, knight f5, always the same.
Mm.
Mm,
Okay.
and that's the point.
Yeah.
Maybe black at the beginning can avoid this plan playing bishop b6 at the beginning. I mean, but
Mm.
you can still castle and then you can or maybe you can play knight c3 and you can develop your pieces. So maybe
Yes.
you can try to block your attack in this way and don't without take. I think maybe this is better for black, so don't take the bishop on e3. But in this
Mm.
case, you go to develop your pieces, and all your pieces are developed quite well. So it's something good for white. And in the future, the white plan could be try to attack also this bishop. Maybe move this knight on e2 to have more pieces on the king side. But actually, we don't need to study a lot of things. So actually, my advice is simply consider this option, bishop e3. At the moment, we
Yeah.
consider only if he takes. If he
Mm.
doesn't take, okay, we will play with your general ideas, with your moves without problems. But this is
Yeah.
a position very very common in practice, so it's very important
Mm.
not this plan.
Yes.
Now I choose something with black. Okay, let's see something with black. I open a new chapter.
Yep. Is this a new dream position or is this a dream defense?
And yeah, we'll play something similar. So we were going to also to see against dream position. So
Okay.
let's see
To stop
e4.
dream positions ever happening. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
e4. Play your moves with black. So play your normal
Okay.
moves.
Yep.
Okay, attack your pawn.
Now, lately I've been doing this with mixed results. So, yeah.
Yeah, my advice is try to play the same. So my advice is play always knight c6
Yep.
to defend the pawn e5.
Mm.
And if bishop c4,
Um, what do I do? I'm trying to think what I do. What do I normally do?
yeah, bishop c5 because it's important to avoid knight g5 because the queen can defend.
Hmm. Hang on. The queen can defend anyway. It doesn't make a difference. Bishop to c5 does not change the ability of the queen to attack
No,
g5.
yeah, you're right. But the point is that you have to develop one of the two pieces, or knight or bishop. So for sure, if you play bishop g5, okay, the queen can defend anyway. But the point is
Yeah.
the other option is move the knight, and if you move the knight, you don't
The queen
defend
cannot
after
defend.
that.
Right.
Yes.
Got it. Yep. Got it. Okay. Yep. Yep.
So
Yep. I understand. Yep.
so after d3, maybe I'm threatening the pin if you move the knight. So what could be now black? A good move for black.
Um, threatening pin.
No,
But that's
in
there's
this,
two attackers. Two attackers.
yeah,
Yep.
you lose the pawn in this way. Yes.
Yeah. 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 What's the best move from here?
Your idea should be develop the knight and castle as soon as possible. Your main idea, your strategy.
Oh, okay. Because
But
I
if
was
you
thinking queen could go there, but is that not good?
No, because I don't understand the purpose of that. So why the queen should
So
be?
knight.
Yeah, but you can still take with the king. So if he takes, you take with the
Oh,
king.
okay. But if you don't take with the king, you can still castle. That's my thinking.
Yes, yes, but I mean, if you play queen e7, you don't add
Yeah.
something in your position because the seven pawn is defended by the king, and I don't think he will take because if he takes, he lose a piece. So it's
Yeah.
not
Right.
the idea
Okay.
for him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, okay. So develop the knight.
Yeah, but if you develop immediately, there is the pin,
Okay.
and we must avoid that. So
Yep.
how can we avoid the pin? We can play h6, correct? That is, avoid this. If we
Mm.
castle, correct? And now, what happens if bishop e3? What do you play with black now?
I think I would castle too.
No, that's a bit of a mistake.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
The bishop is under
Okay.
attack.
I was thinking get the king to safety. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Mm.
a good idea, but there is an immediate problem that we must solve first.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's better kill the bishop on b6. Very good.
Mm.
Maybe nice e3. You can. Now maybe it's time to castle. So you're right. You can.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And then. And then my point is that you can do the same. So what I mean, that at the hand you can do the same with bishop e6. So let's say that white plays move like rook e1, you play bishop e6, and your idea is try to propose this trade.
Mm.
When white decide to trade the bishop on e6, you can do the same strategy. So I mean queen to e8, knight to h5, knight to f4, and queen to g6. We're playing black, but the structure is completely the same. So if you,
Yeah. It's reversed. Yeah.
yes,
Mm.
so it's the same. So we can play the same moves: queen e8, knight h5, knight f4, queen g6, and we can exploit the same dream position that we
The
studied. So
black
okay,
dream position. Right.
yeah,
Mm.
maybe we can change the color, but it's the same. So one,
Mm.
2, and 3. So number
Mm.
2 is number 2 is this with the 2 rook doubled on the f file and the knight on f6
Mm.
under attack. So my advice is try to build the opening repertory easy opening repertory. So try to play in a very similar way is with white is with black. In this way, it's much easier for you to remember the moves, to remember the ideas, to remember the strategies. Because for sure it's
So
not.
base my opening. So base my opening on the Italian opening. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. So that's my advice,
Mm.
uh, and you can play in a similar way is with white is with black, and many
Mm.
times you can try to exploit this plan in which
Mm.
you make an attack against the king,
Mm.
and you know what to do because you know that the queen that can help in this way, the knight can help in that way, and the rooks you can double maybe the rooks on the f file. So it's
Yeah.
something that help you to have a easier game, and
Okay.
that's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Alessandro,
Yeah,
there's the opening. I will not try and say it because it is Italian and you probably will not understand my Australian accent. So I will type it. Um,
yes,
how do you say it?
gioco piano.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have said it like that. So you would not have understood. This it's that is that similar to what we're looking at?
Yeah, it's the same because, for example, in this opening, the site calls this opening gioco pianissimo. Can you see
Mm.
on Italian game gioco pianissimo? Can you see on Lichess? If you go
Um,
on the notation on the right,
yeah.
there is a
Yes.
C50 Italian game gioco
Oh yeah,
pianissimo.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But gioco
Oh
pian
yeah, yeah. So it was covered by your screen. I never saw it up there. Okay, now I've moved the screen. Your Skype thing. I can see it. Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Mm.
because okay, gioco pianissimo is the Italian word. Pianissimo is Italian. So
I know. I play music. I know all the Italian, musical terms. So yeah.
okay. So
Mm.
yeah. So when we talk about gioco piano, it's like it's Italian game. Yes. So
Mm.
it's the
But that
same.
is that this gioco pianissimo is different from the Italian game, isn't it?
No, no,
Slightly.
it's the
It
same.
is exactly.
It's something. Yes, it's exactly that. It's something very. With the Italian game, you can go in maybe also other variations. This variation is
Mm.
Italian game gioco piano. Yes, so it's
Oh, I understand now. Right. Okay.
because
Yeah.
it's like that Italian game. You can also go in other variation. This variation that we're studying is is Italian game gioco piano. So it's
Oh, got
so
it. Got it.
so
Okay.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
the topic about it.
The gioco piano variation of
Uh,
the Italian
of the Italian
opening.
game, of the Italian game. Yes,
Got it.
correct.
Yeah. Right. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Um, but why did you not Joko Piano? So did you?
I'll show you the book I have. I think I showed you it last time. Just wait a minute.
Yes.
Do you know that book?
No, I don't have this book. I don't know. It's
Yeah, this one is You in Chess, same company as this.
okay. Yes.
Yeah, and it's just all the openings for one E4, and there's a lot in there, but it's quite simple explanations, and that's where I learned the Petrov defense.
Okay. Okay.
And
Understand.
yeah, and the first opening I looked at was the Italian opening. And it has a lot about French and Sicilian, which I don't look at because it's probably too complicated. But yeah, the Italian I could understand, and I spent a lot of time, looking at that. So yeah, this is a good book. I like it. And yeah, so it's that. It says here, winner of the Golden Award of the Italian Chess Federation. So there you go. It's the
Okay.
Italian Chess Federation likes this book.
Okay. What's the author?
Uh, Stefan, can you read it?
Yes. Stefan.
Jurek or something? Jurich?
Jewish. Yes, because it's Italian for this reason.
Yeah,
He's okay. He's a Italian grandmaster, but okay, he's Serbian Italian grandmaster.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So
Dmitry Komarov,
no, I don't know with him,
some
but
I don't know, some
uh,
guy,
uh,
and Claudio Pantaleoni.
Pantaleoni, yes, is a
Yeah,
Pantaleoni is Italian, yes. Okay, so it was
yeah,
probably an Italian book translated in English, yes, because all
yeah. It's
the
a good book. I
yes.
like it. I like it. Yeah, yeah. It's from 2008.
Mm.
Yeah, I think. Oh, the English edition 2007.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, yeah, Italian book. It is an Italian book originally. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, good book. Yeah, I learned
uh,
a lot from it. Yeah.
yes. And
Mm.
yes, maybe you can take a look in the book if they talk about also this kind of variation. Maybe you can also see if there are information about that.
Yeah, well,
And
they have games as well. It's always good to look at the games and see where it goes.
yes,
So yeah,
yes, that's
mm.
very useful. So
Yeah.
I'm talking about that because in this way, when you play with black, when you play e4 e5 with black, and when you play e4 e5 with white, so with both
Mm.
colors, you can try to play in the same way.
Yeah, so
Um,
both are trying to get the same position, aren't they?
yeah, because okay, for sure you don't take always the same, but for sure you take
Mm.
similar position. And in a similar position, often you can use the same plans and the same
Mm.
ideas, the same attacks, and that's something that will help you a lot about that.
Mm. Mm.
For
Yeah.
example, now I show some positions in which we study this topic, is white to play, and
Yeah.
now your purpose is try to find a move for white to take an advantage, so to win material, to win something. When I say win material, it could be also only a pawn, so
Mm. Okay, so there's no bishops, so there's no diagonal attacks. Um, Wind material. Hmm.
Because in theory it can work the plan that we started. If we follow the main plan, should be queen e1, queen g3. Do you remember, right? So something like that.
Yep. Okay. So just do that, I guess. Do that first.
So queen e1, queen g3 can be okay, can be a good plan, but in this specific position you have a way to win immediately material. So to win, for example, you can win a pawn, for example, in this case.
Okay. Come on. Where is it? Come out.
And the rook is attacking the knight, and this
Yep.
knight can make always pressure against h6. So basically this pawn on g7 is overloaded because it's to defend at the same time the knight and the pawn.
Yep.
Can you check a way to win something exploiting this idea?
So if I go here.
Yeah, you can take the pawn, and then he has to take with the pawn on g7,
Yep.
and then you can go to take the knight. So you want a pawn, and at the same
Yeah.
time you
Got it.
destroy this
Yep.
castle.
Yes. Yep.
So
And now he's got big problems.
yes. So what's the point? That when you play the same structure is with white is with black, it's much easier for you play because there are some tactical ideas that you can see many times, like this, for example. Now when you know that there is the knight on h5, so I mean when you know that there is the knight on f5, you know that there are some tactical tricks that you can exploit connected with this knight on f5. And now, for example, we are talking about knight takes h6. Well, wait a second. 1 second about the number one. So, for example, in this first position, you can see that we reach this position with the same opening, and we can understand that this pawn on b3 is there because probably there was the bishop on b3, bishop e6, bishop takes b3, pawn takes b3, and we reached the position that we said.
Yep.
Let's see now number two. What to play? Here, white can always take an advantage, trying to exploit similar ideas.
Well, you could do that still.
Okay, if I take with the pawn, it's the same. But now there is a problem because I can also take with the king.
Yep.
And you cannot now you cannot take my knight, so that's the problem. So we should find
Okay, so
something
it's
different.
got to be a better move. It's a better move. What is that better move?
Yeah, it's a good attack, but maybe can try to defend with the knight on e8, and maybe can't defend. Now the point is, okay, you have two pieces, rook and queen, that are attacking the knight on f6. But actually there is only one defender for this knight. What's the defender?
The one defender on the knight.
Yeah, what's the defender that actually is defending
Oh,
the
the
knight?
pawn. Pawn on,
The pawn on g7.
Yeah.
So without this knight there and without that pawn on g7, you can simply take the knight.
Right. Yeah.
So what could be the move? So not because I take
Oh,
the king.
sorry. No, sorry. So I'm not thinking. I'm not thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then I have to
Then
take
if
the
the king
knight.
takes,
Yeah, and you want a pawn in this way because you want the pawn g7, but at the same time you also weakened the black castle. So for sure, white now has clear advantage. So that's a very good thing I think to study. So try to understand the structure. So this kind of structure, for example, that is always the same, and then try to understand the plans. And about the plans, we have to remember the three positions to be copied. The plan is queen and knight to attack g7. A plan could be both the rooks on the f-file to attack f6. The plan number 3 could be sacrifice a rook for the knight to bring the rook to f6 and play for a checkmate against the black king. Those are the 3 ideas that we must remember to play well this game and to attack very, very, very well. That's a very good thing.
Yes.